What if I told you that the biggest enemy of a 300-mile-per-hour car isn't the engine, or the aerodynamics, or even advanced technology? It's the universe itself, the unbreakable laws of physics. And the faster we try to go, the harder the universe fights back. Today, we're diving into the terrifying world of hyperspeed cars. Machines that push so violently against nature that every additional mile per hour becomes a war. A war humanity isn't guaranteed to win. Speed has always been one of our greatest obsessions. The first humans sprinted to escape danger. Then we invented wheels to go farther, faster. From steam-powered machines struggling to hit 20 MPH, to gasoline engines cracking 100 MPH, to hypercars blasting past 200 miles per hour like it's casual business. Something deep inside us refuses to settle for fast enough. We want more. We always want more. But somewhere along the way, we discovered a strange, invisible barrier, 300 miles per hour. A speed that looks like a number on paper, but in reality, it's a doorway to a dimension where every single rule of engineering is pushed past its breaking point. A place where tires become bombs, where air turns into a giant enemy, and where one microscopic mistake equals instant death. So what makes 300 miles per hour so brutally hard? At normal speeds, 40, 60, even 120 miles per hour, the air around you doesn't feel like much. A gentle breeze, some wind noise, nothing too intense. But once you start chasing 200 mph, air transforms into a wall, an invisible wall that tries to stop you. And the faster you go, the thicker that wall becomes. Aerodynamic drag doesn't increase in a straight line, it skyrockets exponentially. Double the speed 4 times the drag. Triple the speed 9 times the drag. At 300 miles per hour, the air is hitting the car so hard it's like pushing a 5-ton concrete block through a hurricane. The car must fight this wall with nothing but raw mechanical brutality. That's why 300 miles per hour machines need 1,500 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower, sometimes more. Not to accelerate, not to climb a hill, just to shove through air that is desperately trying to hold them back. But let's say you somehow manage to win this war against drag. A new enemy appears, a silent one. One that wants to lift the car off the ground and kill the driver instantly. It's called lift, and it is terrifying. We think only airplanes fly because they have wings. But here's the truth. At 300 miles per hour, anything can fly. Even a car. The air moving over the car becomes so energized that the smallest imbalance can generate thousands of pounds of upward force. One tiny flaw in the shape of the bumper, a few degrees of upward pitch in the chassis, a small bump in the road, a whisper of side wind, and boom, your multi-million-dollar hypercar transforms into a clumsy airplane with no wings and no chance of survival. At those speeds, lift isn't just dangerous, it's instant death. So engineers turn to splitters, diffusers, spoilers, all designed to push the car downward and glue it to the earth. But downforce comes with a price. More downforce, more drag. More drag, even more power needed. It becomes a vicious cycle. Speed fights safety. Safety kills speed. Choosing wrong on either side means catastrophe. Now, let's talk about the component that is most likely to explode, literally explode, during a 300 miles per hour run, the tires. If the car's body is a fighter, and the engine is a monster, the tires are ticking grenades. At 300 miles per hour, a tire spins more than 2,500 times every minute. The centrifugal forces rip at the tread, trying to tear the tire apart from the inside. The sidewalls stretch like they're being tortured. Temperatures skyrocket to levels that melt rubber from within. A tiny air bubble, a microscopic crack, something you'd never even see, can become a deadly bomb at 300 miles per hour. That's why these tires are handcrafted like medical equipment. Kevlar and carbon fiber reinforcement, X-rays checking for invisible weaknesses, ultra-precise balancing, strict replacement schedules. These aren't tires for daily driving. These are temporary survival devices, safe for a few short minutes. Maybe. And if one explodes, it's over. The car disintegrates. The driver doesn't get a second chance. Inside the engine, meanwhile, pure violence is happening. Pistons are punching upward thousands of times per minute. Temperatures burn hotter than molten metal. Lubricants scream for mercy. A single microscopic fracture in a rod or a valve can turn the entire engine into a fireball of shattered steel. Gearboxes strain under torque so extreme it twists thick metal like licorice. Driveshafts spin with forces usually found only inside rockets. Will bearings endure stress similar to jet turbine components? Nothing in a 300 miles per hour car lives an easy life. Every moment is a fight against destruction. But even if you overcome drag, and conquer lift, and build tires strong enough to stay intact, and engineer an engine that doesn't explode, you still haven't earned the right to go 300 miles per hour. Because now you must find a place to unleash the beast. A tiny crack in the asphalt, a 1-degree dip in the pavement, and the car can launch into a fatal airborne disaster. Normal roads are a joke for 300 miles per hour. Even racetracks aren't good enough. You need a runway miles long, laser-leveled, polished, groomed like a billiard table. And then you need a driver, not a daredevil, not a racer chasing fame. A driver who understands that at 300 miles per hour, there are no mistakes. At this speed, reaction time is basically zero. You travel the length of a football field in less than a second. A sneeze, a blink, a tiny twitch of the steering wheel, and your life ends in a fireball. The human brain simply wasn't built for this. A crash at 300 miles per hour isn't a crash. It's annihilation. Even the best professional drivers approach these records with fear because they know physics does not negotiate. Now, you might wonder, why even try? Why spend millions pushing a machine faster when 150 miles per hour is already fast enough to feel thrilling? Why risk lives to chase a number on a screen? The answer is simple: human nature. We climbed mountains we didn't need to climb. We crossed oceans without knowing what was on the other side. We flew into space when people said it was impossible. We do these things because we need to know the limits, and then push them further. The jump from 200 to 250 miles per hour took decades of development. The jump from 250 to 300 miles per hour required a revolution: new materials, new computers, new physics-defying tricks. When Bugatti broke 300 miles per hour in 2019, 4.773 miles per hour, they basically said, "We're done. It's too dangerous. It's too expensive. We've reached the limit." But have we? Because companies like Koenigsegg and SSC North America are not satisfied. They believe there are still boundaries left to break. 320 mph, 350 mph, 400 mph, numbers that would have sounded like science fiction just 20 years ago. But those speeds will require cars that look less like cars and more like supersonic missiles with wheels. Carbon fiber bodies that deform shape at high speed to reduce drag. Active aerodynamics that adjust every millisecond based on wind. New tire materials that haven't even been invented yet. AI-guided traction correction because humans alone can't keep up. Engines producing 3,000 horsepower or more. Maybe even hybrid systems that push electric motors past their current limits. But even then, we start bumping into deeper challenges. Materials buckle under pressure. Air begins compressing so much it behaves more like a liquid than a gas. Temperature becomes a killer. Noise and vibration break bones inside the driver's body. The car flirts dangerously close to transonic speeds, where shockwaves form and stability becomes a coin flip. And so, a new question emerges. Have we already reached the final frontier of wheel-driven speed? Are we living in the era where engineering meets the ultimate wall, the wall built by physics itself? Because the laws of nature are absolute. Air density doesn't care about ambition. Tires don't care about dreams. Gravity doesn't care about human ego. Physics wins. Always. But here's what makes humanity fascinating. We don't care that we might lose. We keep fighting anyway. The war for 300 miles per hour was never just about speed. It was about proving that even when nature swings with full force, we still stand up again. So the battle continues. New hypercars are being forged. New test tracks are being planned. New drivers are training right now, preparing to risk everything to push 1 more mile per hour faster. Because someone out there, right now, is dreaming about 320 miles per hour. Someone else, 350. Someone else 400. And eventually, someone will do it. The real question is, who and when? Will it be a company we already know? Or a future genius about to change the world? Will the car still run on gasoline? Or will it be powered by electricity? Hydrogen? Something entirely new? We don't have those answers yet. But one thing is guaranteed. The battle against physics isn't over. It has barely begun. So if you loved diving into the science, chaos, and pure terror of top-speed engineering, don't disappear now. Hit like, share this with someone who loves insane cars, and drop a comment telling us which speed record we should explore next. Because the next video might be the moment you witness humanity break the next impossible speed barrier. This is not just about cars. This is about mankind versus nature. And we never stop pushing. The race toward the unimaginable continues, and we're just getting started.